Please welcome Aish Agarwal from Rakuten. Good. Okay, so like I said, you've been all over. What countries have you worked in, and how would you describe what it's like?
Well, I started with India. That's where Rocket Internet was setting up their online furniture business. So I helped them set up their paid marketing and CRM. Finally moved to Berlin and their headquarters. Helped them set up African online multi-category business from 3 countries to 11 countries.
Wow.
Now I'm in Rakuten, taking care of Europe, 4 countries, UK, Austria, Germany, Spain.
So you have a pretty good overview of what's going on. So can you describe the differences, especially between Africa and Europe, and also India, and maybe even Asia?
Yeah, I would say there are 3 key differences. Number 1 being the user themselves.
Yeah.
Their user behavior, smartphone is really big there.
Okay.
They've completely leap forwarded from the laptop generation, and all their buying, or majority of the buying, happens through smartphone.
Okay.
Which means mobile apps, a mobile website becomes much more relevant for the user. Data privacy is apparently and unfortunately not so strong there.
Okay. So, seems important.
Yeah. Third is the context of offline media in developing countries becomes much relevant.
Okay.
Because the penetration in Europe and especially in Scandinavia is so high that we're not really dependent on any other offline medium.
Okay.
Where, as in Africa, for example, the combination of offline and online is still pretty relevant.
Okay. So if someone in this audience is considering moving into, not moving physically, but going into that market like Africa, what would be your advice to them?
I would say don't try and copy paste the practices from Europe or from US to Africa. That's number 1.
Okay.
Try and understand the user behavior. For example, we realize that most of the shopping happens, at least the desktop shopping happens during weekdays,
Okay.
which is the reason is that people don't have their laptops, so they shop from their offices, from their office laptops, and on weekends they buy on mobile.
Okay.
So you need to move your budgets accordingly.
Interesting. Okay, we're going to let you get to it. We're super excited. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. So here's the buzzer. So today we're going to talk about how to tap into big data to create a great customer experience. A brief introduction about myself and my company, then a peekaboo into how the future could look like, and the 3 key W of what, why, how. Finally, looking at how we can convert it into a marketing opportunity. Myself, I'm a data revolution believer, and I genuinely believe that, like industrial revolution, where machineries replace the labor, big data is going to replace the monotonous work which lots of managers are doing right now, for example, for bid management, etc. I really love startups, hence Berlin. Yoga enthusiast, and I love traveling. In fact, Sweden is my 13th country in the last 13 months, and I'm loving it. Apart from that, I'm currently the head of CRM Europe for Rakuten Marketplace. Talking about Rakuten, it's a Japanese leading internet services company, spanning from Asia to Europe to Americas. Present in multiple businesses, over 40 businesses, and some of the key acquisitions in past 1 year, you would have noticed Viber being 900 million and eBates being 1 billion acquisition. Big data is pretty relevant in case of Rakuten. The reason being this Rakuten ecosystem of multiple businesses, starting from e-commerce to digital goods, to travel, to securities, credit card, banking, which all revolves around the concept of Rakuten membership ID. And we'll see later in the presentation how it's so relevant. First of all, let's try and understand what big data is, why should we use it, and how is it done. I know there are usually lots of technical discussions, and a lot of people sitting over here would know, but I'm going to touch upon from the marketing perspective. What is big data? In a simple words, it's data collected from everywhere, be it your online shop, social networks, hospitality, weather reports, CC cams, sensors, everything. Big data in itself is not new. What's new is how we capture it, how we visualize it, how we store it, and several other activities based on big data. And based on how we store, how we capture, we will be able to understand the customer DNA and eventually creating a great customer experience. One of the best examples in the industry right now is Google. Google's multi-device and multi-channel experience. You have the seamless experience on your smartphone, on your website, on Google Now, on Google Search, on Chrome, and that's the experience which we're talking about. Why should we do it? Technically, there are three benefits. The volume is number one, to analyze massive amounts of data. Velocity being the second one, to enable real-time information. And variety being the third one, to enable data combinations of multiple data sets. From business point of view, and this I think would be most relevant to this audience, firstly, it saves the cost because it helps identify which segment really requires the benefit, and then optimize your overall cost and not distribute vouchers like anything. Secondly, it increases your customer reach, hence more revenue for the company. Better customer experience, again, resulting into higher conversion rate. And finally, the automated personalized content, which will help you cut down the monotonous work or resources spent and adding efficiency. Three key building blocks to set up the right big data strategy: data, tools, and analytical models. Data, pretty straightforward, but the new thing is metadata, which means the relational attributes of this data. Analytics should be based on business initiatives and should not be blindly followed based on what other companies are doing. And finally, having an intuitive tool for data democratization in the company for the management. Some of the tools I've just listed down, but I think the key thing to understand over here is that in the industry, there's a big demand for one single tool which caters to the technical as well as the business needs. Now let's have a look at how can we turn all this opportunity into a great customer experience. In case of a typical e-commerce company, we all have this same customer journey. A customer comes to your website, gets acquired, browse on the website, and finally makes a purchase. We all have this information, but no one is storing, or I would say most of the companies are not storing in a proper structure. How I would like to structure it is in three buckets. One is the registration data, as soon as the customer makes an account or creates an account or subscribes. Second is the browsing data or the cart addition data. And third is the purchasing data. Now, these information are available in each company, but how all these three are interconnected based on key identifiers, which could be visitor ID, member ID, customer ID, item ID, or order ID, that's the key. And that eventually results into the customer DNA and allows you to use this data for marketing opportunities. How we could use this data once it's all connected in customer DNA? For three key things. And again, there are lots of buzzwords in the market. I would like to focus on these three buckets again. One is personalization, which could be done on-site, email, mobile, by identifying myself on the website and saying, hey, Ash, here's some men's fashion category you might like to check out. Second could be retargeting, which will help you increase the reach and also understanding about those customers whom you didn't know at all anything about, understanding what they really need. Hence increasing the revenue of the company. And finally, selective targeting, and that's directly relevant to the cost of all the marketing initiatives, all the offers, discounts, etc. Combining the knowledge of last two slides, one is how you structure the data, And for the three key strategies for which you could use it, this is an example of an ideal customer journey, how it could look like. There's a lot of information there. I'm not sure if it's visible, but I try to explain in a more business sense. So as I mentioned, the first step is a customer registers on the website. Once he registers, you know their name, email, date of birth, sometimes gender. You can do a lot of personalization. You can send a welcome program. You can do a preference targeting by sharing an email only based on the men's categories. Finally, the behavioral targeting based on if the user clicked or opened, etc. Finally, went to the website. So once the user clicks, goes to the website, browses the products. What do we have there? We have the search items of the user. We have the products viewed more than X number of times. We have the products which were added in the cart. We can do retargeting based on all this information. Once you retarget using display ads, retargeting ads, Google retargeting, Facebook retargeting, or email, the objective is to make them purchase. Some of them will purchase, and some of them will purchase again, and that's the objective. Then you have the most relevant data. You have the items which they have purchased, you have the categories which they have purchased, and there are two key opportunities. One, improving the quality of recommendations. Right now, I don't think in the industry there is any single recommendation tool which either has been able to implement successfully the most relevant recommendations. The ones which are usually in-house developed recommendation tools. The ideal recommendation tool should be a combination of the browsing data, purchase data, cart data. Right now, the examples which we see are only those products which have been added together in the cart or have been purchased together in the in an order. But ideal recommendation tool should have the whole customer DNA and the whole customer journeys learning into developing the logic. Second key opportunity for the first purchase and the repurchase is selective targeting by understanding which segment really needs the offer. I've seen a lot of e-commerce companies just sending 10 euros voucher, for example, to whole customer base, when not everyone really requires it. Probably only 100 top customers required it, or probably only middle 20% of the customers required it, and loyal customers were anyway going to buy. So what we can do based on the data which is available is understand which customer is really meaningful for us, and then target only those customers. This is an example use case. I call my user Tom. I don't know why, but it's pretty cute. Tom, small name. Let's say it's Mr. Tom visits the website. That's a new visit to the website. While he was browsing, he tries to exit the website and sees a pop-up saying, "Hey Tom, here is a 10 euros voucher. Why don't you subscribe to our website, and we'll keep you updated on the offers in the future." I subscribe. I also give my gender, and finally I receive a recommendation email based on my browsing history saying, "Hey, did you like what you saw? Here are some other items. I like those other items." I click on it, and this time I go on the website. While I was looking, I wasn't really convinced of the pricing. That's when there is another pop-up that says, "Okay, here are 5 euros only on the men's fashion category." Because I already gave my gender in the first subscription, you have that customer DNA still available, and you can target that voucher only for the men's fashion category, where, for example, the margin is more. Finally, I make a purchase, but very small order value, and now my target as a CRM manager is to make Tom purchase for a higher value and make sure he's profitable to the company. This time I again send recommendations based on the last purchase, and Tom comes on the website again, and this time he sees that, okay, you will get a discount, but here's the catch. It's only available for 24 hours. It's only available for more than 100 euros, and it's only available on men's jackets. the reason why I'm able to do this targeting, because I had the whole customer DNA where I knew what's the gender, what did he browse, what did he purchase, and that his purchase was not of a higher average order value. This is how we can create an overall customer journey. These are my 3 favorite campaigns out of most of the campaigns which are practically applicable at this point of time. Of course, omni-channel and multi-channel, several other campaigns which are still evolving are relevant as well. But the ones which really can bring you revenue right now is browsing history reminders based on with recommendations, a reactivation program based on RFM model. It's a very a common term in CRM world. It's a recency, frequency, monetary value, and you come up with a score of a customer and finally target them based on the value of the customer. And lastly, the Facebook retargeting, wherein you can use the custom audience or lookalike audience to target those users who are not opening your emails anymore. That's all from my end. Just towards the end, a couple of trending topics in 2015. Internet of Things, majorly how the devices or the systems will themselves interact. Companies like Ford, Tesla, who are collecting tons of data, how they would use it is going to be a big topic in 2016 more. Data lake, which is like, it's like a sister of data warehouse and is very much the buzzword right now. And the tools and clouds, which I think most of us are already aware of. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ash. We actually have to move on to the next one, so
All right.
Thank you so much for coming. I
Thanks a lot.
appreciate it. So everyone, another round of applause.